for the sake of the video. Hello, everyone who's watching. My name is Jordan Wilburn, and I am here with our guest, who I'll introduce in a moment, but also my coworker, Lexius Weltar, and we are community managers at Synergy CoWorks, which is a co-working center in San Diego County. We have two offices, one in Escondido, that's the one that I'm in charge of, and then one in the beautiful neighborhood of Encanto, and that's the office that Lexius is in charge of. And so this is the first of a series of webinars that we want to introduce called Women in Business. This episode is obviously a little bit different because this one is Mother's Day themed, but we are a woman-led business. Our CEO is a woman, and she's also a mom, which makes it extra special. And we kind of recognize the importance of having discussions about the journeys that women go through when they're entering into the business world. And it's evolving and changing, and it's way different from the way that it was 20 years ago, even 10 years ago. But there's still very interesting conversations that can be had. And so this is, we hope, a space where those kind of discussions can be had. So today, because it is Mother's Day, it's May, Mother's Day just passed, but just because of the season, we wanted to highlight a mom specifically, and I'm super duper excited to introduce our guest, and I will actually have Lexius, if you want to go ahead and introduce her.
Yeah, hi everybody. Like Jordan said, my name's Lexius. I'm a community manager. I'm actually here in Synergy Imperial right now, which is pretty cool. But I'm so excited to introduce our guest. It's honestly a pleasure and an honor to have Michiko here today. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of her background, just in case you don't know too much. But she's accomplished, she's multilingual, and she's a marketing executive with 20 years of experience at Sony Electronics, which is amazing. She's originally from Tokyo, Japan, so it's awesome we have her here in San Diego today. And she moved to the U.S. to actually get a master's in business, right? She's led the newly created new business group since 2017 in Sony, and she's launching innovative technology products in North America market, in addition to heading up corporate marketing group. She's amazing. She's a recipient of several awards, including the Sony Samurai Award, a leadership award by the San Diego Chamber of Commerce, and the Working Mother of the Year Award. She's passionate about supporting working parents and promoting work-life balance. She's a mother of 2 boys and enjoys running 5K races and playing golf. So we're really excited to have you here, and we can't wait to get into the talk.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. Okay, so I'm going to start off. We're just going to ask a couple of questions so we can learn a little bit more about you, and so our audience can kind of hear from you about your journey throughout your career and such. So the first question, I just want to kind of ask, how did you find your career path? Did you stumble upon it? Did you really plan it? And, you know, how does your role that you have today really play out for your mission and overall goals?
Yes. So I was born and grew up in Japan, and somehow I had always this dream of living in America. And after graduating from college in Japan, I started working for Coca-Cola Japan company. That was the first time I was exposed to the business world, and I was fascinated by marketing, and I really, really wanted to do marketing. And at that time I was in human resources. So for me to switch the career and also to understand business holistically, I decided to come to the US, and I went to Kellogg Graduate School of Management at Northwestern University. So after MBA, I got the job from Sony, and I moved to San Diego. So it's been a wonderful journey. And in Sony, I've been working on different marketing functions last 20 years. And every day I'm learning something new. So it's been a wonderful 20 years.
Awesome. Awesome. And I heard that you had a bachelor's in music. Do you find that you use that in your current role? And what kind of encouraged you to pursue that?
So I don't necessarily use the music skill itself, but I noticed that I'm really disciplined to make small efforts every day. And I'm not good at making a huge effort on the short amount of time. And that's because, to any, people who are trained, right, on music or sports, you have to make efforts every day to get to your goal. And you cannot do that within 3 days or 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
Also in Japan, to get to university, you have to choose your major for the entrance exam. So for me to get into music as an education major, I had to do the exam for 5 different subjects, like math, English, Japanese, science, and social study, but also music tests like piano, voice, reading, sight reading, and dictation, right? So all of these, I had to study in such short amount of time that I had after high school, right? During high school. So you have to plan ahead, and that discipline that I had definitely is helping my productivity and juggling all the things that I have to do between work and life.
Right. Oh, what instruments did you play? You mentioned piano and voice. Did you have a favorite?
Mostly I played piano for 27 years, so that was my main instrument.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then my last question, and this is a personal question. I'm actually looking into applying to master's programs. And I was wondering, what was the thing that really pushed you to pursue your MBA? And why did you feel like it would really push your career to the next level?
Yeah. So I had my specific goals. 3 goals. One is to pursue my dream to live in the US. And 2, because my major was music education, when I started working, I realized, I really need to understand business holistically. And then 3, I wanted to change my career from HR to marketing, and it was not easy to make it happen on the job.
Right.
So I feel like without the MBA experience, I wouldn't be here today. And of course, the experience and friendship, and I also met my husband too. So everything that 2 years make such huge difference in my life. But I do think, it depends on the person who, why you want to go back to school, right? And there are many choices today that you don't have to go full-time MBA. You have a choice of part-time or executive MBA. You can even do online. So if you love your job, you don't have to quit your job and, pursue your MBA. You should pick the way that suits your, life stage.
Right. And I really appreciate you saying that. I think that you highlight that there are a lot of alternatives to formal education sometimes, and it depends on, what's best for you. I went to UCSD, got a bachelor's in environmental science, but a lot of the skills I learned on the job. And sometimes I think that's really cool. But yeah, I appreciate you. And I think your story is super inspiring, really showing you that you can kind of learn so much from every little thing you do, right? From going to music education to going into marketing and business. That is awesome.
Yeah, I'm actually taking Kellogg's online digital marketing strategy class right now for 8 weeks. It's so much fun. I love learning. Even many things I already know, you take, you learn something, you know, in a different way. So it's such a joy to learn something different.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can transition a little bit to some more questions about maybe your mission and what it means to be a parent and things like that. I do just want to briefly remind the people watching that if you have questions for Michiko, feel free to put them in the Q&A area. You can type them up, and then we can save a couple of minutes to answer them if we have any. But I do want to ask, so you have a lot of work that you've done with programs that support working parents. Can you tell us a little bit about what exactly you do there?
Yes. So when my kids are younger, my husband was working in Los Angeles. So I was like a single mom, and it was really, really hard. And then I thought, oh, maybe I'm not the only one. I should not be the only one who is struggling so much to work and also take care of home too. So at Sony, I started network group, employee network group to support working parents. And now it became one of the largest network group at Sony, and we have about 200 members. And you know, we host events to, you know, educate parents about child care stuff, and also we host Take Your Kids to Work Day every year, and it's really meaningful to see both parents and kids are having a great time and bonding through Sony's event, right? It's important for kids to see where their parents work, and that way you have like a shared memory of basically understanding where we are and what we do. So that's employee network group is one thing, and also I worked closely with HR to push in a backup care program. I wanted to actually really have the on-site care, child care, but it's such a difficult, we were still working on it, but at that time we were able to push in backup child care program. When, you know, your nanny is sick today, then you can call and get support and stuff. So there are so many other things we can do, and Sony is doing actually a great job to support parents. So I'm really appreciative of that too.
That's awesome. And you mentioned that your husband was working in Los Angeles, so when your kids were younger, it kind of felt like you were a single mom. So I have a question. As a working parent, what has been the biggest challenge you have balancing life and work?
Oh, it's so challenging. I am sure other moms agree too. It's just so demanding. You want to do well at work. You want to be the best parents for your kids too. And I wanted to be a good wife too, but the priority goes down.
Right.
So I really wish I could have gotten more support, meaning I should ask for more support. I should have asked more support. And I wish somebody had told me how hard it would be. And it's okay to ask others to help. And of course, you have to pay money to do that, right? And I thought, oh, I shouldn't spend this money. But now thinking back, it's such a limited time. In that moment, you feel like that would continue forever. But it's actually a very limited time in your life. So it's okay to spend money, and mom being healthy and happy is a very, very important thing for the whole family. So there is no easy way. There is no easy way to make it work, unless, you know, you can of course cut back your work hours I do have some team members who asked for changing their status to part-time. And I'm like, go for it, that's fine. It's a limited time thing. You have to make adjustments that work for you, and you have to ask for it. Nobody would tell you, oh, do you want to do this, right? You have to take a control and you have to ask. And if you're a good employee and the company care for you, and then we can make something work it out. But again, everything starts with you.
Cool. That's a really good tip. Everything starts with you. Okay, and I have a question. Again, this is kind of a personal question because I studied international business with a focus in Japan, so I'm interested in this. But my question is, what is the difference between the working environments in the US versus Japan?
It's very different. First of all, gender equality is very, very different, meaning Japan is much more behind than the US. So I know, Lori, you're on the call, but she was heading up Women's Business Association group when we were in school in Kellogg. And I just came out of Japan at that time. And I didn't understand why we have to have Women's Business Network group in US, because I thought US, everything is perfect.
Right.
But she said, no, we're still so many things we have to accomplish. And over the last 20 years, I learned there are so many things we can still do. So in Japan, things are improving for sure, but it takes a lot of time because it's a mental shift among not only women, but also men who have more power in the organization right now, right? So it will take time, but it's changing, so that's a good thing. Another thing is in Japan, because people work for the company for a long time, like 30, 40 years, they're kind of systematically grow in the company. So people don't talk about career progression with your manager at all, not so much. So when I came to the US, I was thinking it will just automatically and naturally happen. But then I learned when I asked my manager in the US, okay, I think I'm ready to get promoted. And then he said, I don't know what you do. So I was shocked. Wow. Then I thought, you know what, that's also my fault, because I always thought that if I had been doing a good job, he would know. And I didn't share enough of my accomplishments and how much skill set I had. So from there, I learned that I really have to communicate what I want to do and how much, what kind of skills I'm using to solve day-to-day problems. So now I learned in a hard way, and I'm, setting up usually one-on-one time with my, people, and kind of encourage them to tell me what they want to do, where they want to be in the future, so I can help them. So yeah, there are a lot of differences between US and Japan, and I have to adjust my way quite a bit.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting to see that. I mean, like you said, even though Japan may seem like it's behind in certain aspects, like there's still a lot of work that can be done in the American workplace too, surrounding women's rights and even just women's conditioning socially to speak up for themselves and do things like that, like you said.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like you brought up some really great things one thing that I think is a critique sometimes of the US working system is they don't care about the folks that are working there sometimes, and offering a space for your employees and your coworkers to really allow their work to align with what they want personally, I think is extremely important. And then I feel like this is a perfect segue into the next question. You discuss like, this is what I learned from one job and what I want to take to my other job and my other positions. But we all know that being a mom is almost like a full-time job, right? So what are some skills that you learned from being a mother that have really benefited you as a businesswoman?
Well, being a mom, you really don't have time. Time is money. So you have to plan, and also we cannot be perfect, right?
Right.
So I try to decide how much time I can allocate to one activity. So even like cleaning up the kitchen, do the dishes, I said 5 minutes. I just clean 5 minutes and I'm going to bed. And you would be surprised if you know you only have 5 minutes, you're super quick. And if your goal is to clean up perfectly, that would take so much time. But if you know you only have 5 minutes and you can focus and then clean up, then you're much more productive. So I think many moms are able to do that. So yeah, and you have to drop off kids in the morning and pick up kids at a certain time, and you gotta go. So start with what you have to finish of the day instead of just I'll do it later. Just get it done so you can leave.
Awesome. And I'm looking at one of the questions because I feel like it's perfect. These are perfect segues. One of the questions is, do you have any tools or resources to help when working with young children?
Do I have any tools? Myself. I think there's so much information out there today, especially this stay home period. As head of new business group, we also put out some coloring of our products and STEAM Week webinars for free, so that kids and teachers can join and learn about how, what kind of jobs are out there in Sony and how each person built their career, right? So I personally, as a mother, of course, my kids are home and they're perfect, so they watch YouTube and play game all day long after doing their homework. I can't control, I can control what they do. But instead, we do like a cleaning contest, we build a robot, and we do robot competition. We do like cooking dinner. They have to come up with their own menu. They actually built their own computer. So, things that I'm trying to teach more like life skills, because I cannot really sit down with them and teach them math or, schoolwork so much. Of course, I try to help, but so trying to use this time and teach them what you can teach.
Right. Do you set time aside, kind of how Jordan was saying, no one really knows when people are working and when they're not? Do you have a set schedule in your home to kind of facilitate that space where they can do homework and you can do work without any distractions?
My days are pretty packed with meetings, but on the first week of this stay-home period, I noticed that I cannot sit down back to back all day long. Right. So I put, like, after one hour, I put 30 minutes of break. After 1 hour, 1 hour and a half max, take 30 minutes. So during these 30 minutes, of course, it's my break, but also check on kids, how they're doing, And then, you know, try to balance that way. And I think that that's working well for me.
All right. No, that's awesome. Okay, I think I'm gonna go through all the questions if that's okay.
Sure.
We have two more. Okay. The first one is, what do your kids think about all of your success?
Oh, they see, I don't know, I talk about, we celebrate success, but also I share my failure too. You know, my son, well, one day I was a little bummed that I was a leader of the project, but it's moved on to the next phase and the company assigned a different leader. So I felt failure. And at the dinner time, I was talking, you know, I'm a little disappointed. And my son asked me what happened. So I said, you know, how you felt when you were pulled out of the field by baseball coach after you make some mistake. How did you feel about that, right? And then I kind of explained, this has happened to me. I'm a little bummed, but I'll just move forward. I just need to do a better job and I need to move forward. So yeah, it means a lot to me when they also, you know, give me high five for my achievement. And when they come to this take your kids to work day, they always say, hey, mom, if you didn't start this network group, maybe this take your kids to work day didn't happen, did it? And I said, that's right. I am so proud and so proud that everybody's here too. So yeah, we have a lot of good conversations. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I think those are really important skills, you know, and when I was growing up, my parents taught us in the form of sportsmanship. So like sports is a big deal. I played soccer, my brothers played football. And my parents really, you know, you don't go out there to disrespect this and that, and you celebrate your losses and your wins because you learn so much more, you know, even from the failures, which is pretty awesome. And I think kids are sponges, and I love when you're able to have those conversations and they always surprise you, right? You're just always, I have an 8-year-old sister. She's always saying the most endearing things. It really makes me smile.
Excellent.
Yes. Okay, there's one more question. Oh, two more. Okay, the first one. When working in corporate America, how did you navigate through your career growth and promotion? Did you have a mentor?
Good question. Mentor, I would say more importantly, you have to have a sponsor. And sponsors don't have the badge sponsor, right? So you have to find them. And usually, so sponsors are, mentors are people you can, you know, talk to and kind of get some advice. But sponsors, to me, have more power to pull you up to the next level. So many times it could be your manager or it could be manager's manager. But you need someone who can really support you and kind of advertise you as a key talent to get to, you know, bring you to the next level. So find your sponsor and don't, sponsor is not one person, but because remember in corporate world, anything could happen. Organization could change tomorrow or your manager could leave. And then you have to start from scratch if you are only depending on that person. So it's okay to have network with your manager's manager and you know, somebody in a different department. So you know, build your network and always talk about what you want to accomplish. If other people don't know what you want to do, it's hard to help you. So, you know, don't hesitate to have that conversation.
Right. And I think you brought up earlier, you're talking about time management. Networking in itself is almost it takes a lot of work. And as someone who's been in the tech industry and having to network to find jobs and things like that, how did you really balance out searching for some or meeting people who you would consider sponsors and making those connections in a timely manner?
Mm, well, you don't have to meet or spend so much time, but my suggestion is keep communication, right? Regularly, even once every quarter, that's fine. What I don't like is somebody contact me only when they need a job.
Mm.
I feel like, right, I'm used at that point. Of course, I'll help. I'll help anybody, but it's a different feeling when somebody, keep good relationship and close contact with me, and then one day if they say, "Hey, I need your help on something," I would be much more happy to support it. So,
Right.
yeah.
Definitely. Awesome. Okay, this is the last question we have. And again, if anyone else, there's one more. Okay. What makes Sony a woman-friendly environment?
Hmm. We are really keen to, from hiring to, promoting to every, step. We are really making efforts to be women friendly. And yeah, there are a lot of also male executives who are truly believing in the gender equality. And yeah, so I think culture really enforces um, the diversity and also inclusion. So not only gender issues, but age and also race, anything you can think of. We are very, very keen to it, and therefore last, I think, 3-4 years we're ranked really high as best place to work environment. So I think we came a long way.
All right. Awesome. Okay, let me see. All right, and this question says, how do you find the right sponsor that will segue you into a different career?
Yeah, I think again, your boss is probably the probably first place to start. And I think that person has to believe in your skills and potential, right? So ideally, that person knows how much you perform and what your strengths are, the areas that you can improve more. So somebody who work closely, not ideally in the same organization, because it's hard for me to really know that person's capability if that person is not in your company, right? So try to start somewhere close, and then that will definitely leads to different network and more people to get to know.
Right. Jordan, did you have any questions you want to throw out there?
Well, it seems like that was the last of like the audience questions. So I think we can begin to wrap up. It's 3:41, so yeah, we're about right on time. But I do have one question that I want to ask, and I have it written down, but this was just an extra silly one. So if you could have dinner with 3 people in either in history, already passed away, or living today, anyone in the world, who would it be?
Wow, that's a tough question. You didn't tell me in advance. I don't know. Every day I eat with my husband and my 2 kids nowadays, every day. Those are my buddies, but I have to think about that.
It's okay. You can keep it in the back of your head and email me later. Well, thank you again for letting us interview you. It was a pleasure. Thank you for being our first honored guest on our Women in Business series. It was an awesome way to kick off the series. If our viewers wanted to find you, they can find you on LinkedIn, correct?
Yes. Find me on LinkedIn. Yes. Michiko Araki Kelley.
Perfect. And any resources you recommend, I guess, familially or just in general?
About
for like parents that are, or moms that are looking for support and things like that.
I don't know. It's always, nice to have network of people, definitely lean onto your family, extended family members, your mom, your mother-in-law they're the best. But I'm not that social, to be honest, and I just drop off kids and leave usually. But I try to kind of have a few mom friends from same classroom. So if something happens, like when my husband is traveling, I'm traveling too. I cannot pick up kids at a certain time, and there's somebody that I can text and ask for help, and that's really important. So stay connected with your community and definitely family members.
Awesome. Right. Thank you so much again for being on here. And if anybody else wants to find any more information about what we do at Synergy, or you want to stay in touch to find out when we're doing more of these women in business seminars, or our entrepreneurship hour of entrepreneurship, which is actually coming up next Friday and the Friday after as well. We're highlighting 2 entrepreneurs this month. You can find us at our website, which is synergycentercoworks.com, and that center is spelled the British way, so it's CENTRE, synergycentercoworks.com, and you'd be able to find our information there, our social media accounts, and even how to become a member if you want. And you can actually we're working on a program where you can become a free member, basically, so you can always get access to these webinars. But yeah, thank you again to Michiko for coming out. Thank you everyone for coming to watch, and we will see you next Friday.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good day.